Which country is most hated by nature? And if we take all natural disasters into account, where do they happen the most? For example, when it comes to earthquakes, Japan tops the list. This country sits at the intersection of four tectonic plates, causing around 1,500 earthquakes every year. And with that comes frequent tsunamis. The Philippines, on the other hand, faces around 20 tropical storms every year. The US has the most tornadoes. There's even a region here called Tornado Alley, the place with the most tornadoes in the world. As for volcanic eruptions, Indonesia experiences the most. The country lies right on the Pacific Ring of Fire. But if we total up all types of disasters, the United States is probably number one. With its large size and diverse geography, the U.S. faces volcanic eruptions in Hawaii and Alaska, droughts, earthquakes, and wildfires on the West Coast, tornado outbreaks in the central region, and massive hurricanes on the East Coast. Why is 99.9% of Greenland empty? Greenland is the largest island on Earth with an area of 2.16 million square kilometers. But the population is only 56,000 people. The population density of Greenland is just 0.026 people per square kilometer, the lowest on the planet. So why does almost nobody live here? First of all, nearly 85% of Greenland's area is covered by very thick ice sheets, leaving only a few habitable areas along the coast. The people in these towns rely on ships or planes for almost everything, living on fishing, seals, and whales. Agriculture here is almost zero. In winter, the sea here can freeze, cutting off many places from the outside world. Today, Greenland is still a self-governing territory of Denmark, even though it lies thousands of kilometers away. Even more remarkable is that its name is Greenland, but all we see is white. Did you know that in California, there is a beach where the sand is not really sand? It is made of glass. It sounds impossible, but this strange and beautiful place is completely real, and it is called Glass Beach. At first glance, it looks magical. The shore sparkles under the sunlight, covered with shimmering colors. But behind that beauty lies a dark story. Decades ago, the beach used to be a dump, where people threw away everything, from bottles, electronics, to even cars. The ocean swallowed that pile of waste, and the waves broke the glass, smoothed the sharp edges, and polished them into smooth gems. Trash accidentally turned into treasure. Today, the beach shines with millions of pieces of sea glass, creating a scene as if it came from another world. But it is slowly disappearing because visitors, enchanted by that strange beauty, have quietly picked it away piece by piece. And in a few decades, it may completely disappear. The United States is building the largest defense shield on Earth, and it has left the entire world astonished. It is called the Golden Dome. This system is not only designed to protect one state, but to shield the entire nation. How does it work? First, the United States will launch high-tech satellites into orbit. These satellites will scan the skies 24/7 to detect any signs of a missile launch. If an enemy missile is fired, the satellites will almost immediately detect it during the boost phase. At that moment, artificial intelligence will calculate the missile's trajectory in real time. Ground-based and sea-based interceptor launchers will instantly fire, aiming to destroy it in mid-air before it gets close. Not only that, it can also launch a preemptive strike if the United States feels threatened. This project is expected to cost more than $175 billion US. This makes Russia and China feel fearful, because this is not simply defense, but a completely new form of power. Some countries are on the verge of disappearing, and there are countries that can only exist for another 50 years. Number 3 is Taiwan, a country with a large and modern economy. This country is always targeted by China and considered as one of its separatist provinces. In the future, it is highly likely that China could use force to annex Taiwan into its territory. Country number 2 is a tourism paradise with a future that is slowly sinking. The Maldives, a country famous for tourism. Located in the Indian Ocean, the Maldives is the country with the lowest average elevation above sea level in the world. If the sea level continues to rise, this tourism paradise could be swallowed by the ocean. The Maldives government has even bought land abroad to ensure a place to live for its people in the worst-case scenario. In the #1 position is an island nation in the Pacific Ocean. It is only about 2 meters above sea level. Scientists predict it will disappear by 2070. This country is gradually moving its population to Australia, and that is Tuvalu. Traveling around the world, I realized these things. Arriving in New Zealand, I found out that there are no snakes at all. Moreover, the number of sheep is 20 times the number of people. Arriving in Thailand, I found out that gender can be divided into 18 types. Arriving in Hungary, I found out that if you don't fall in love, you have to pay a single tax. Arriving at Somarai Island, I found out that in this world there really is a place without time. In summer, the sun shines 24 hours. In winter, you don't see the sun. Arriving in Africa, I found out that penguins are not only in Antarctica. Arriving in Egypt, I found out that the area around the pyramids is not an endless desert, but a crowded residential area. Arriving in Iceland, I found out that there are no mosquitoes there, and the scenery is like in a dream. Arriving in Germany, I found out that working overtime is against the law, and most people have 30 days of paid vacation. Arriving in Dubai, I found out that lions and tigers can be pets, and billionaires are countless. Arriving in Scotland, I found out that men here really like wearing skirts. You can totally walk from London to New York. It sounds unbelievable because these two cities are separated by the Atlantic Ocean. So how? You start from London, go to the Channel Tunnel to cross into France, continue the journey westward to reach Germany, then Poland, and then Belarus. Through Belarus, we enter the largest country in the world, Russia. You will have to cross more than 12,000 kilometers with the wild and freezing lands of Siberia to get to the Bering Strait. Wait, that place is the sea. No problem, you wait until winter when the sea here freezes, and you can continue the journey to reach Alaska of the US. The journey continues through the vast land of Canada, then down into the US, going through states and big cities until you reach the final point in New York. The distance is about 25,000 kilometers, and you will need 4 to 6 years to finish, passing through the bone-chilling cold lands of Siberia or Alaska. A journey full of challenges, but extremely fascinating. This country is almost impossible to invade by any war. This is Switzerland, a country that stayed out of every war in the past. What makes Switzerland so hard to invade? First, Switzerland has a natural defense from the Alps. Foreign armies would have to face harsh conditions and the strong natural defenses of this country. Besides that, in the 20th century, they built a massive defense system of bunkers, tunnels, and hidden weapon sites deep inside the mountains. Not only that, but they also placed mines along the national borders. In case of an invasion, the system would be detonated. Switzerland maintains a policy of neutrality. They do not participate in military or political alliances, like NATO or the European Union. During World War I and World War II, when all of Europe was fighting for power, Switzerland remained safe and untouched. Finally, Switzerland is a place that holds the assets of many countries around the world. Invading Switzerland could risk the loss of international assets. What would happen if the Atlantic Ocean suddenly dried up? First, a new continent would appear on Earth, connecting the Americas with Europe and Africa. We could walk from America to Europe and Africa. Highways and railways would soon be built to link the continents. We could dig up ancient shipwrecks that sank centuries ago, including the Titanic. Who knows, we might even find pirate treasure. However, if the Atlantic Ocean no longer existed, the world would fall into disaster. 90% of global cargo is transported by sea, and the Atlantic is a main shipping route. Many major economies would collapse. The Atlantic Ocean regulates global temperatures. Without it, Europe would become as cold as Siberia. Africa and South America would suffer severe droughts. Not only that, major rivers like the Amazon and Mississippi would have nowhere to drain, causing massive floods that could destroy riverside cities. And war might break out over the new lands and resources.